What's going on, everyone? Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 28th. And you're tuned in to THOOPers, Rodney Stuckey's favorite basketball podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Lehman, still under the weather. And with me, I have Josh Rhodes.
Hey, guys.
And George Martin.
Bear with me this episode. We had some technical difficulties, and we're going to see how this goes.
George's Wi-Fi isn't working, so he's on his iPhone right now. It may sound like a Nokia, but it is his iPhone. And yeah, I still sound like this. Josh brought me NyQuil, but I haven't done it yet because I don't want to fall asleep on the pod. And I know it's going to be a 2-hour pod, so we got to get into this. We got a good show for you guys, though. Going to cover the Pelicans Grizzlies trade. A little late to the party, but Woj leaked right after we recorded, so that was fun. Josh and George are going to grade my first ever draft research I did for Thursday's draft. Some players I like, some players I don't like. We'll see if I got the right idea going. And some overall news, like the offers teams are getting for their lottery picks. But first, if you guys like what you hear, make sure to follow us at THHoopers on Instagram and Twitter. Mostly Instagram because Twitter, we're not going through George's account because he tweets every 5 minutes, G_Martin21. George, you don't only tweet about basketball stuff. I saw you like slandering Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher about like not bathing their kids. What was that about?
Yeah, they said that if they see dirt on their kids, they'll bathe them, but if they don't, they won't. They said it's just like too much of an inconvenience. And I went, doesn't surprise me why we're in a pandemic. But yeah, no, it's mostly basketball. Don't worry, you won't be.
Does that sound funny coming from George, Josh? Is there a little bit of irony there?
Okay, I
bathe. Fun fact: George was making fun of Lehman and I's bad habits, and it's kind of funny coming from George. So,
Josh, you housed me. I showered every day. Don't lie to the
No,
viewers.
you didn't. No, you didn't, buddy.
George, the problem was you came down from Wisconsin to California, stayed in Josh's house, and you complained that he was like, he makes me shower every day. That's not true.
Never
you
said,
sounded like a 12-year-old child.
Never said that.
You complained? That's
I think
sad.
we should move to the basketball portion of this podcast, which should be the only portion.
I mean, fine. Yeah, we killed about 2 minutes already. Let's go to the basketball portion. Big news, probably the biggest news we've had since champion was crowned and Giannis got his first ring. First trade. So Grizzlies are trading Jonas Valanciunas, the 17th pick and the 51st pick, to the Pelicans for Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe, the 10th pick, the 40th pick, and the Lakers protected 2022 pick. I'll start with George here because I know he's a little bit more passionate here. So I'll just say, what does this mean for the Pelicans? What does this deal get done for them?
Well, it rids them of two of what I thought were more of the worst contracts in the league. They get off Bledsoe. It opens up not only cap space for them to pursue guards or re-sign guards, it opens up playing time for guys that we said we had liked in Kyra Lewis and NAW. So it clears up more playing time for them. They can start to figure out what their backcourt of the future is going to look like. And then they get a huge upgrade at center. Capable 2020 guy. Jonas was kind of, the lead vet of the young Grizzlies team when they got to the play-in and eventually getting to the first round. So I feel like a guy like that can help this Pelicans team as they look for some direction. But I think mainly freeing up cap so they can do what they want in free agency or re-signing their point guard in Lonzo is very key. They only moved back 7 picks, which I felt like in this deal wasn't a whole lot. You can still get a solid starter, a solid core guy at 17. So they didn't give up too much draft capital. They freed up cap and they got an upgrade. I saw it as a Pelicans win. So I want to know what you guys have to see because I think we disagreed about this.
I don't know if we disagreed because I had a little bit of time to sit on it. I know you always overreact and jump to conclusions, and I like to say the opposite thing. But I got a few thoughts, but I'll go to Josh here. We were talking about this when he brought me my NyQuil in the car. How big of a jump is from the 17th pick to the 10th pick in this draft?
In terms of upside, not a lot. 10 probably has some more NBA-ready players, but 17, you can still get a player that if you play your cards right and if the tide rolls your way, they're still going to get a player that can probably contribute to a winning team. Not too concerned about the trade down in terms of Memphis. But I guess if we go into the actual draft package, I think it's good because we talked about kind of Steven Adams' role. I think they're going to try to change the primary focus on offense to Ja and Jaren Jackson. They have Dylan Brooks, who plays Very questionable, yet good defense. Desmond Bain, they have a lot of good pieces. And this kind of opens the gateway for Xavier Tillman a little bit, because I know he was kind of looked at as a background because of Jonas just feasting for the Grizzlies this year. But now that Steven Adams kind of more of a reserve defensive center, they can get Tillman to kind of play some key minutes. And 17, not 2 or 10, they could get a player that could definitely contribute right away. I mean, but I think they'll live. Yeah, I think I don't necessarily think it's bad for either team. George brings up good points with the cap, but I think Memphis has the potential to kind of just because I know they're not planning on keeping Bledsoe. I don't think he's going to play a game in the Grizzlies.
Streets are saying Bledsoe has no role on this team.
That's what reports have been said.
Steven Adams probably will, but yeah, the Pelicans. I don't know, because now they have this cap space that we're talking about, but it's just about capitalizing on the space that they're given, whether it's just getting Lonzo Ball. So we probably, or get a player that kind of does what Lonzo was doing for them. We kind of have to wait a little bit. But right now, Memphis has kind of put themselves in a situation where it's like, we're going to put pressure on the players we want to pay in the future. They're kind of investing more in their future by giving away kind of I think that was Jonas's probably best year that we might see from him. So now they're putting all their chips on Jaren Jackson, and I kind of like it.
So I'll stick with Josh here. Can we prove George wrong, or is he right in his initial assumptions? Because it seems like the Pelicans obviously won the on-the-court trade. They upgraded Valanciunas for Steven Adams and Bledsoe. They get Valanciunas, good floor spacer, took about 1-3 a game and hit about 37% of that clip. And obviously a great mid-range shooter, so he can fit with Zion that way. And he's just overall a good player. I adored him during the regular season. He just puts up numbers. Adams obviously didn't fit. And then it seems like you're saying it's not a big difference in the draft capital landscape, that pick between 10 and 17. So is this a Pelicans
It's just player ready. It really is just player ready. But I think I'm a big believer in what the Grizzlies are building right now. And I think that the change from Jonas, who kind of needed the ball to be a contributing factor, to a guy like Steven Adams, who makes impacts on the court that don't involve having the ball. We've seen it with him and Russell Westbrook. And now we might get to see it with John Morant. I like the fact that they're investing in their future. The Pelicans still have a lot of questionables, and I know we talk about, David Griffin didn't make a bad move, but he still has things to do. It's a 2-step process for the Pelicans in this trade, and that's why I see Memphis as the winner here.
I like that.
Just because they switched. They got rid of Jonas, who, like we talked about when I gave you the NyQuil, is due for a big payday, and Memphis wasn't looking to pay him because they have other players they need to pay. Pelicans need to capitalize on the second part, which is making use of the cap space that they got, and I don't think they'll be able to, and I like Memphis's chances next year.
So Memphis wins in your eyes on intangibles. They're not having to pay Valanciunas next year, and they get a good center in return. I know George hates Steven Adams' contract, but it is two for 30 mil.
They probably win in the long run. Because by the time
decent value.
George, what does this mean for Lonzo Ball? Because they open up cap space, the Pelicans do, to get a point guard. Lowry's rumored. They see him being the Chris Paul to their Phoenix Suns. Yeah. I don't see that. That's a little much. But they could have re-signed Lonzo without this trade because they have his bird rights, and they could have went over the cap. But now it looks like looking in a different direction. So is this good for Lonzo in the fact that he can escape, or is it bad because now teams might lowball him because they know Pelicans aren't crazy about keeping him?
Yeah, it kind of puts him in a sticky situation right here. To me, it seems like the Pelicans don't want to bring him back. They have their eyes elsewhere on a veteran point guard, whether that be Lowry. I've seen even Schroeder. I don't think they go that route, but anyways, they're looking to move on. You do make up a good point. I hadn't thought about that. A team can throw a lowball offer sheet. And yeah, the Pelicans we're not going to sign that. We have our point guard, ready to sign. And then he ends up going to a place, maybe he doesn't want to go to, or it's, suboptimal for him. It's not the money amount he wanted. But yeah, he's definitely in a situation where a lot of things have to play out before he really knows what he's going to get and where he's going to play next year.
If you're the Pelicans, Do you want to keep Lonzo? This is a question to both of you guys because it doesn't seem like they want to. George is saying it feels like they don't want to. I know they don't want to. They drafted a point guard last year. I'm blanking on his name, but he plays just like Lonzo, just a little shorter and worse defense.
That was Lewis, right?
That was Lewis, yeah. And he runs the floor great. He's great on the fast break. When you have Zion, that's good. But drafting a point guard in the lottery, he was a lottery pick.
Yeah.
So it seems like they have no choice, no reason to keep him. Would you even go back to him if you don't get those big fish? And by the big fish, I mean probably like Lowry or someone along those lines. Or is he just gone no matter what? Is he a backup plan or is Lonzo gone?
I mean, if he is a backup plan, I don't think they want to tie themselves into him for, multi-years and a big dollar amount. Because I do think at some point, I don't think they envision him as their franchise point guard. Because like you said, they drafted a point guard last year. There's good point guards in this draft that they could go with as well. If that could be a different backup plan. So I just feel like with all their options on the table that they don't want to go with him. He's like a plan C or D, So I don't really think so.
Josh.
I kind of agree with George. I feel like Lonzo, in his very limited time with Stan Van Gundy, because we talked about him getting benched a lot.
He's gone.
I guess apparently he didn't show anything. He didn't really get the opportunity to, but Pelicans don't really like what they see in terms of the fit with Lonzo, BI, and Zion. And they might go for a more reserved point guard also. Kyra Lewis is pretty good also, so I don't think that Lonzo's going to return.
George, I know this is your favorite David Griffin trade in a long, long time. But is this an A-worthy trade, or is this just kind of like, okay, let's get the gears rolling? Is it incomplete because, like Josh said, it's a two-parter? Let's see what you do with that cap space.
Yeah, no, Josh had good points. I agreed with him. There's a lot that they have to do. They have the cap. They have to bring in a guy because if they end up, drafting a point guard or bringing in someone that wasn't their first thought, then it doesn't look as good as what it was. I did overreact. And the thing with Memphis too that I wanted to add after Josh had said some points, like they bring in some guys that's gonna put them over the cap, but they're also gonna get a good pick here at 10. And their front office, we talked about this, Lehman, I think Josh as well. They've hit on a lot of picks, so they might feel confident. There might be someone, maybe the reason they did this trade is because there's someone there that they see that they're intrigued by, and they're going to have to tie in, they're going to have to tie up Ja. They're going to have to tie in Brooks, Slow-Mo.
Okay, wait, hold up. We can't give Memphis too much credit. They drafted OJ Mayo.
He was supposed to be the next Michael Jordan. Have you not seen the Korzemba video? I would have drafted him too.
Mike Korzemba has said a lot of things that we shouldn't take into account. But anyways.
Once again, this is a Jimmy High Roller podcast, not Mike Korzemba.
But yeah, it's definitely two-part for the Pelicans. I'd say they're obviously on the right path. But if they don't.
And Hasheem Thabeet.
Okay,
I'm glad
we're going into the history books.
I don't think it's the same GM, Josh, to keep it a buck with you. I don't know if it's the same ownership.
I don't think so.
But yeah, two-step for sure. They're on the right track. They can bring in a big gun like they think they will. It'll be a wonderful trade.
Takes two to tango. Josh, letter grade for the Grizzlies.
I'm gonna give them for the Grizzlies.
For the Grizzlies.
I'm gonna give them a solid B. They invest that while they lose Jonas, who was a good key offensive player, especially when Jaren Jackson was out and Ja had some injury scares, I believe. He was definitely a big piece of why they were able to stick around for contention. They are investing all their chips in their stars, which I like. They have a good team. They move up in the draft, and if they get rid of Eric Bledsoe, I mean, it's not like they're hard capped or anything. So I like it.
I mean, moving into the lottery is not bad for a team whose best players can barely go to the bar after a W. Like, you want to stay young, and you don't want to pay Jonas Valanciunas. So like you guys said, I think you both said, you want to pay Ja, you want to pay Jaren. You don't want to pay $22 million to Jonas Valanciunas, and if you don't pay him that, he's going to leave because some team will. A team who's in a similar position like the Hornets, this offseason they would give Jonas Valanciunas $22 million because they're so desperate for a center. They're hard to come by.
Yeah, for
sure. So the fact that you get a decent one in return like Steven Adams on what I consider a good contract, George maybe not.
It's only going to expire more and more. So
it's only get worse. Just like milk, George. Just like milk.
Thanks.
All right, now we're moving on to draft talk because it's the last draft pod before we actually have to cover it.
Woo!
So the guys last pod did a great job doing a mock draft. Josh got sicko with it. He did like 4 trades. I think
Josh
Bradley
was
Beal got traded.
cooking.
I think the
two trades.
yeah, so it was pretty good, and it was good for me to learn. And then I realized, I'm the host of a basketball podcast. I should probably do some draft research, not just let the guys do it for me. So I read a few articles, watched a lot of the Ringer videos, watched a lot of highlights. I'm not gonna lie and say I cracked open a book or something. I just watched some highlights, formed some opinions. So I got 3 guys I like, 3 guys I don't. And you guys just tell me if I get some stuff wrong about them. I don't want to get into debate because I don't have a whole lot to talk about, but I got some initial thoughts on some guys I want to see.
Let's hear it.
All right, so number 1, I'll start with the love. We're gonna go positive first. We're gonna do the first 3 love, and then we'll get some debate going. I like Mobley a lot. He's my favorite player in this draft. Watching him, I wouldn't trade my pick if I'm in the top 4 or 5 until Mobley's off the board. I would take him everywhere there. I think he's very good with his instincts. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, which is very tough for a center. And the only real con I have about him is his physicality, and that's mostly just because it looks like he's not physical because he's so damn small. He's tall, but he's slim. Yeah, he's very slim. But his potential's there. And if I'm drafting the lottery, I'm kind of a go big or go home guy. I go for potential. You're bad anyways. Might as well try and be great instead of getting a guy who's going to be an all-star maybe 2 or 3 times. Get the guy with the most potential. And Mobley, he doesn't remind me of a guy who can bust easily in the NBA. Pause. He just has those natural potential you want to build around. Sorry, I was in speech class for 4 years. Are you guys big Mobley guys?
Yes.
Is he your favorite?
I am.
Okay, I know he went to USC, so George might not like him.
I know the UCLA bias. No, he's very skilled as a big as well.
Very early on, when we were talking about the Houston Rockets struggles early in the year, I said they should definitely look to keep their pick because Evan Mobley is coming.
Josh was always on the Evan Mobley train.
And then I was watching a video. I just want to. I guess there's a younger brother syndrome where if you're like the younger brother, you're great at basketball.
His older brother is Isaiah.
Yeah, and
I know where this is going.
And where's it going?
Cody's gonna be.
Go ahead.
Cody's gonna be better than you.
My little brother will probably be better than me. Not yet, but he might be. I don't know. But they're mentioning Michael Jordan. He was a little brother. But I saw him getting compared to AD a lot. Is that cap or?
Yeah, no, that's been the comparison I've been seeing ever since.
I like the Chris Bosh comparison more because AD is kind of more. They're both kind of crybabies, but AD has the defensive
personality checks.
Has a defensive caricature, and Mobley doesn't. I think it's more like Chris Bosh.
I mean, Mobley did win Defensive Player of the Year,
But if Mobley can get, I think I said this last pod, if Mobley can get a little bit of muscle and get a little bit, he has the potential to be like a Kevin Garnett on defense. Like
I will say though that if that's like the only thing you need to add to a prospect like that, you take him every single day of the week. If everything else,
he also needs to work on his directional game, which might be an issue because of his
on-ball skills. Like he's great with like handling the ball for a big man. Yeah. He's good at passing, and his hands are great. But he doesn't have a whole lot in his repertoire as far as like back to the basket. That's because he's 7'1" and playing, college basketball. You don't need to develop that just yet. Your instincts and your skill will get you there very quickly. And again, if I'm
to Houston, I know a great center with footwork.
If I'm a GM, I'm drafting on potential and what's easiest to teach this kid because you can't teach like great vision in a point guard. You could yeah, you could teach lifting weights. It's very easy. They taught Giannis. So. Second one, I do like Cade Cunningham. He's the rumored first overall pick. And I want it. I would draft him if I'm in the lottery. I like him as the first overall pick. If you want to envision the first overall pick fitting this like current NBA, because you're gonna have to pay him money and you want to be able to build around him. And he's that kind of guard you want to do that with. He's the tall guy. He's tall for a guard. He's about 6'7", I believe. He's got good vision. Doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses in his game except for kind of forcing it most of the time. And when you're handing the keys to a college offense and you don't have a whole lot else with you, I think that's forgivable, the turnovers. So that's really it for Cade Cunningham. I think everyone likes him.
Yeah.
But I like him too now. And then late lottery guy, I do like Corey. I like Corey Kispert.
I think it's because of reasons outside of basketball, honestly.
What is that? I don't even know what that means.
Corey Kispert, sniper. Kyle Korver.
I know with him, he'll know his role.
Yeah.
He's got a very high floor and a low ceiling as far as like a lottery guy. He could be an all-star maybe once or twice, but like he's not going to be like a go-to guy. But he's going to be in the NBA for 15 years, and he's an absolute sniper. His shot mechanics are golden. He almost got that like it's very nice to watch him shoot the basketball. And then his defense, even for a white guy, he's like sturdy. So like if he's guarding like a John Wall or like a John Morant, yeah, you can't put him on there, get him off there. But he can slide with you on the perimeter just because he's so strong as far as like in his lower body, which I do like that too. He could turn into a really good 3-and-D wing. And then so I think that's the love list. We're not gonna just bore and talk about prospects through that last episode. So I'll go to 3 guys I don't like, and I feel like you guys have a little bit more thoughts on these. Not huge on Jalen Green.
Oh wow.
I feel like his play style is very specific to it. Like you have to put him in a very specific spot. He's not a combo guard. He's not. He needs a point guard to run the offense with him. And I think in the NBA, if you're only playing one position, it's very tough to be very, very successful. You like guys like Luka, like Harden, they play both guard spots. They run the offense. We saw a guy like Devin Booker kind of get stuck because he only plays a 2 guard. He dropped 40 in back-to-back finals games, but he was having a rough spot there because they really didn't know what to do with him on offense. So I kind of see that kind of problem with him. And then also a lot of these guys, I don't like the shot selection. He kind of gets stuck there sometimes, and he's not very good. He's like George in like my park. When you try and catch and shoot with him, he'll wait there a little bit, get off rhythm, and he'll put it up.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna see that in a different light because I like his hindsight. I like, or not his hindsight. I like his confidence. I don't know why I blanked like that because those are shots that he's going to have to be able to take and make in the NBA. And for him to take shots like that, because the G League Ignite team wasn't a great G League team. They weren't really looking for wins. They were just looking to show off talent. And he's a very streaky shooter. And I will agree that his shot selection needs to improve. But I did see that in the shots that he made that were good. And when an NBA team kind of disciplines him more and he learns to take the shots that he needs to make, especially the catch and shoots, he makes a lot more of those than his little dribble up and pull up threes from like the Trae Young era. And there's a lot of rim. He hits a lot of the front and back rim, so it's not like he's missing terribly. It's just that eventually when he learns his jump shot and rhythm, he'll get the hang of it.
Okay, because the main thing I saw was he would get the ball and he'd think a little too hard and he'd try and do something he shouldn't do, or he would just shoot it anyways off rhythm. When you hold the ball there for 3 seconds, you lose all rhythm and then catch and shoot if you don't dribble. That's what I was seeing a lot there too. But George, did I say anything out of pocket about Jalen Green, or can we move on here?
I get the worry about the one-dimensional and one-position thing. I think it's something that he can actually develop. I don't have as big of a worry there. I think I saw some stuff I liked with his G League film that I wasn't really hesitant with.
Sounds good. Another guy, I got him mixed up and I made Josh upset, but I think we're on the right. But I think we're on the same page now. Jonathan Kuminga. Not a big fan of him. It seems like
George.
It seems like people are mixing up defensive, what makes a good defensive player and what looks like a good defensive player. You look at him, yeah, he's Ron Artest II. He's big. He's like 6'8". He's got great lateral quickness, but he has no defensive IQ. Like he's not great as far as like playing passing lanes correctly, getting back on defense, shifting correctly. And there's just a lot of film out there of him not giving effort. And I feel like, again, going back to what I would and wouldn't draft, you can't teach that. You can't teach effort. You can't teach one to be a good defender. And Normally, these guys who come in the lottery and they don't have good defensive effort is because, they play AAU ball. They drop 40 a night in college anyways. They're offensive players, and you got to work on that, like Anthony Edwards. But he's built great for defense, and he doesn't want to put the effort in. So I don't know if that's just because he got a little bored playing for the G League. Maybe he wanted to be in the NCAA tournament. But I don't know. I don't really see a whole lot there. I won't go as far to call him Josh Jackson, but I saw a lot of Josh Jackson in what I was looking at.
I mean, you're giving him a nice comparison there because his offense isn't really there either. He was not a great shooter. I think he shot.
Josh Jackson is not a great shooter, man.
He's better than 30%. He's better than 30% from three. I probably.
That's false. He was like 30% from three at Kansas. He stopped
I think Kuminga
I
think Kuminga at one point was like 25. So they're both bad. But the defense, yeah, there's some things, but his offense, especially in a league that like consumes these 3-and-D players. I just don't know how much teams will be frightened by his inability to shoot and score.
Fair enough. And then, it just doesn't seem. Like I said, I'm all for drafting for potential, but you need to be able to teach upon that potential. I don't like the way he plays defense. That's just how it is. Josh, any thoughts on? I know you're not a big Kuminga guy. You're going to war with George.
I think he has potential, but the fact that George was talking about him being better than Scotty Barnes is kind of rounding.
It was one spot ahead. It was 5 and 6.
But George, was it a fit thing or was it a talent thing? Who's better, Scotty Barnes or Kuminga?
I had it more of a fit thing. I said that at the beginning of the pod. I said my list is going to be a little whack because I had it more fit based.
Continue, Josh.
Yeah, no, but Kuminga has better upside for sure. And George, mute yourself, please. Oh my gosh, you are absolutely rupturing my eardrums. But yeah, no, the upside for Kuminga is there, but I really need to see him fit in a position. So maybe he buys into a younger team rather than him getting told what to do by old heads. That's why Cleveland might be a good suitor there, but we'll have to see.
Now looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, another 3-and-D guy to put with Okoro. That'd be great. I don't want him in Cleveland. No, God no. Him and Okoro, yeah, the defense could work if he figures stuff out. But yeah, like George said, that offensive game is ugly. Like it is pretty bad. I don't like it too much. So even less offense for a team that's going to be trading a 25-point per game guy in Colin Sexton. Yeesh, I'm not feeling that. And then lastly, another guy back at the lottery. I didn't want to just do the research on the high guys. I was feeling him last pod by the way Josh described him, but the Turkish MVP. I just watched him.
I'm just telling you, man. If Pop draft, that was my.
I have it here.
Pop drafts him.
Sengun. I don't know if that's his first or last name. I only put one. I was in a hurry, but he's the Turkish MVP. Is one that Josh had going to the Spurs. As George likes to say, he's defensive food. Even in the paint as a big man, he can't guard 1v1.
Yeah,
and then also
he's bad.
God forbid he gets put in a pick and roll. And it's the year 2021, so he's gonna be put in a pick and roll.
And usually those guys that come from those overseas leagues, unless they're like stars, they usually require a few years to really groom themselves into being NBA players. A lot of those are like draft and stash prospects. I don't think this guy's gonna be that, but you do have some concern of how he's going to transition to the NBA game. I know every prospect has that question, but playing in an overseas league, they have different like principles and stuff. That does worry me a little bit.
I mean, I know, Josh, you're getting labeled as the fanboy for him, and you just keep saying if Pop drafts him, it'd be cool, which valid, very valid. It's Pop, and it's a foreign guy. But look what happened to Jahlil Okafor. He had a very polished post game. He's a lumbering center,
but he's Turkish.
And then 1 year passes, and he's just out of the league. Because there's no room for guys whose main ability is, I watch this guy in the post. It's pretty nice. It's pretty fun to watch. He's got some good moves, but that's not what the NBA is right now. And you see a guy like Wagner there too, who they look the same, but he's a lot better on defense. Wagner is a lot better. So if you got to pick a center going, I feel like he would be the one to pick in the lottery. And then guys, I'm just like I'm solid on. I don't have a very big opinion on them. Jalen Suggs, I feel like he's going to be good. He's going to be pretty solid. Definitely a fit guy about where he goes, but I like what I see from him, and also Moody just seems like he knows his role. He's gonna be very very good. So yeah, we'll see how those pan out.
Those two at the end were very solid. Wish you would have had them on your love list, but nevertheless, good stuff, Lehman.
You like Jalen Suggs still?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite. Besides him, draining that half-court buzzer beater on UCLA, he's one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I really hope he goes to the Raptors too, because like I said last pod, that fit next to FV Fred. Oh my God, Fred VanVleet would be very nice to watch.
I want Mobley to go to every team. I'd be like him on the Raptors. Oh, that'd be so cool. And then I'm like, oh,
him on the Rockets.
Is
bad
that'd be so
though.
Cool.
What are they gonna do? Put him at the 4? They got Allen there.
I swear to God, if they re-sign Jared Allen when they draft Mobley, you can't. No, that's why I like Cavs trading out, because they don't have a huge need at the very very top.
Only way is if they're like hell bent on trading Sexton, then it makes sense to take Green. But besides that, they should trade out.
But I don't even know. I feel like you just give Darius Garland a year at the point guard position with no one breathing down his neck, no other prospects. Just let it. If you like him there, just give him the keys for 1 year. Don't have Jalen Green breathing on his neck one more touches like that. Just let it go. But yeah, I would like them. I mean, the Cavs need a lot done, so we could tackle that after they make their pick and what they can do in the offseason. But yeah. Moving on, that's we'll see how those picks pan out. In a few years, we'll come back to it, see if I was right, see if I was wrong. But we got a few more things to talk about, and then we're gonna get out of here. We got a lot of news. This is my favorite one. Some multiple sources. I thought I got Twitter baited at first. George thought I did too, but then me and Josh both fact checked the account, and I don't think everyone got Twitter baited.
Dude, there was like 1,000 quote tweets, man. I really thought it was a troll account.
So multiple sources say that the Sixers come to the Raptors with a deal for Ben Simmons. And, Raptors, who knows what they're doing? Are they rebuilding because they got the 4th pick? Are they going to swing a superstar trade because they got Masai Ujiri there and they got assets to do it? So we're going to go to the Raptors. We're going to make them an offer. So it's Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and OG Anunoby. I would assume a sign and trade with Kyle Lowry for Ben Simmons and only Ben Simmons. Just Ben Simmons.
I really wish we had
what kind of crack are the Sixers smoking?
I really wish we had the ability to hear the phone call between Daryl Morey and Masai Ujiri, because I honestly think Masai Ujiri laughs and hangs up.
There's no phone call. There's a dial tone.
He doesn't even pick up.
There's Daryl Morey doing his best impression of Howie Mandel on Deal or No Deal, and then there's dial tone.
The
Josh, this can't be
pick
real.
Up.
Josh, it can't be real. There's no way in hell this is real.
No.
Daryl Morey went to like one of the most respected and hard
it's just
GMs.
a rumor. It's just a rumor.
You fact checked it.
No, it is. It did say multiple sources. I didn't see Woj. If it ain't Woj, it ain't trusted. But I want to talk about this because it's the stupidest thing I've seen all offseason since Giannis lifted that ship.
He really went to one of the most like hard ass GMs who make sure he doesn't take a trade that he doesn't love, and said, we're going to take 3 of your core guys from your championship team, and guys way more value combined than Ben Simmons. No picks attached, no this, no nothing. I can't believe that. It can't be real.
So George, you tweeted, I don't know if this was before you saw the trade or if it was just a happy coincidence. You said OG over Ben Simmons right now. Do you stand by that?
Well, I guess if you get Simmons in an environment where he has like all shooters around him and such, he's way better. But currently, Simmons on the Sixers versus OG, I don't know. I might take OG, but I think that's a different conversation than the one we're having right now.
I don't think I asked you last night and you still didn't change your mind. I don't think he's close to Ben Simmons, but it is a wacky trade. Fred VanVleet is better than Ben Simmons, and then Kyle Lowry. I don't.
No picks attached. He said
no picks
up?
attached. No picks attached. Only a big ol' smile from Daryl Morey. I mean, is this a sign he's not going to get traded this offseason? Because it seems like they don't know he's a role player. It seems like they think he's a 3-time All-Star.
There was also a report that said they've had no contact with him. Like he's just gone completely MIA. So
he's just posted. He's going for a different gender this time or something. Like is he doing TV commercials?
I don't even think the Sixers know what they're doing with him. I think that's how bad the situation has become.
I mean, I've heard that they just want to If they get the right offer, they'll trade him. If they don't, they'll keep him and they'll work with him. But that's been the plan for the past 3 years.
I hear that every offseason.
I hear it
it's
every
like a scheduled tweet, to be honest.
So Josh, let me get you in here. As someone who always likes to talk about the potential of the Sixers, what do you think about how what's the word, greedy they're being about Ben Simmons' trade value? And is this a bad sign that he's not going to get traded?
No, it's not. I think that they need to do both. I think they need to figure out some way to get into his thick head that he has to learn how to shoot in order to stay on this team.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
But at the same time, if you let me finish.
He's such a Sixers
George,
optimist.
you got a joke to say? You got a joke to say before I finish my point? I heard him breathe. I knew he was ready to launch one. But yeah, no, I don't think it's a necessarily terrible thing. And eventually I feel like Daryl Morey's smart enough. I'm probably not with this trade, but I think he's smart enough with this time. What he's doing is he's just going to highball it and then keep going lower and lower and lower until he finds something. Because you're not going to want to lowball a player like Ben Simmons. Like, you still want to get value.
Name me the moron that's going to see this trade and be like, damn, I got to step up my game if I'm going to trade for Ben Simmons. Oh, no.
Nobody. But he's shooting high, so when it goes lower and lower, eventually he'll find a trade partner without him going
smoke,
low
aim for the stars, shoot for the moon. What is it?
Actually, you got it backward. Never mind. This isn't a rap podcast.
This is Rap Caviar, brought to you by George Martin. Let's see his playlist. But anyways, yeah, I don't think we're gonna see.
Back, baby.
I don't think we're gonna see any Ben Simmons Woj bomb anytime soon. This is.
I hope I wake up tomorrow morning and see Ben Simmons has been.
Apparently it's going to be a big draft. We're not going to see a whole lot of trades happen before the draft.
Spurs trade 12th pick, and
you just love that trade, don't you? Love DeJounte Murray, the 12th pick. That's your favorite Bleacher Report article now. Ever since I brought it up to you,
it's my favorite thing. I have it hung up above my bed.
BR spit
and I read
this one right here. Not Baskin Robbins, but Bleacher Report. Okay, so we covered that. Now, I feel like this is even dumber, honestly. Thunder offered the Pistons SGA in the 6th pick for the 1st overall pick. Who's more in the wrong here? Because I feel like the Thunder out of pocket for offering it, and then the Pistons decline it. What's going on here, Josh? Or am I tripping? Is SGA worse than I think? And the 1st pick is very
but
valuable.
everybody was talking to everybody had that stupid 2021 SGA where you taking him, and people were saying 5 to 8. I was like, he's a
I saw
all-star.
that tweet.
George said first. George said first because he has all-star potential.
Yeah, what the heck?
I
we agree, Josh.
I don't know. I think that the Pistons aren't looking for a player like Shea. Maybe they're just trying to keep that young build, and they have the Jeremy Grant already.
23.
I know
he
he's
drips. He's got such good fits.
I love that trade for Detroit, but I feel like maybe they think that the potential is just too much, and they still get the 6th pick. I think it's a little ridiculous, but I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but I kind of understand.
So are you in my camp that Thunder are dumb for offering it and Pistons are dumb for rejecting it?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree
but
with you.
You're in that? I can kind of understand why the Pistons don't want to do it.
Okay, George.
Yeah, I get Josh's point. I think they see the guy that they love, that they know they've been wanting to take for months, and I mean, unless it's you're getting a perennial All NBA guy, you're obviously going to say no. But Thunder, it just interests me. I've said on here that I don't really like what Presti has been doing. I don't know why you throw your cornerstone franchise, the guy you're basically building this rebuild around, and now it just seems like he's going to throw anyone into trade offers. If you're SGA, what are you thinking? Oh, damn, I'm replaceable for an 18-year-old? I don't know. I just feel like from now on, he's going to throw anything into a trade machine and see what sticks.
I don't see how, because SGA, I know I'm a bigger SGA fan than most, but most people have him all-star potential. They have him as a very good point guard. And how does a 23-year-old, I think he might be 22, how does a guy that young not fit your timeline as a rebuilding GM? There's no guarantee with those 36 picks you're going to get any player close to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's not very injury prone, who has showed a willingness to build with the team, and who you've treated like trash. You bring in Chris Paul, who was a great year, very good mentor. Then you give him the worst season he's probably going to ever have in his career of just benching players that are winning games for you,
They
like Al
benched
Horford.
him. I think he could have came back.
No, he could have came back, and they benched him. They said we want to lose games. So Shea's like, okay, that's fine. And then you bring in Kemba Walker because look, the Brad
Shiny first-round pick.
shiny first-round pick to Kemba Walker, who's going to take your minutes, by the way, for the first half of the season, so we can build his trade value up, get another first-round pick, and then by that time, since we're playing Kemba Walker 40 minutes a game, our season's out the window. So here's another losing season for you, Shea. So I've never been a huge fan, or everyone's been a huge fan of Sam Presti, but since he's been racking up these picks, this is the final straw for me because I love Shea, and there's no reason he should be tossed in trades like this. And then if you're the Pistons, what you should have Killian Hayes and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes me want to do a happy dance. I don't know how the Pistons don't accept that.
Imagine if you put Scotty Barnes next to Jeremy Grant.
You get whoever falls, whether it's Scotty Barnes, whether you want to reach a little bit, get a Moody, just because he fits. Because you already have DK.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, Josh, where do you fall on this whole SGA being dangled in trade rumors? Like, is it what's going on with Sam Presti, or is there some kind of method?
I don't know why they're doing that because he's their future.
He's a cornerstone. George. Did George leave? Oh, he must have closed the app.
I don't know what Sam Presti's doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of thoughts on it. Hopefully, why don't they have Bradley Beal yet? Why don't they have him? They have all the picks in the world off for the Wizards. Why don't they have him?
I don't know, man. I don't know what.
Why don't they have every star that's ever requested out?
I don't know why they haven't even made those offers yet. That's the thing.
Like, go to the Wizards, and I know Thunder are very like secretive. Like, we didn't know they were trading Paul George till he was gone. But like, go to the Wizards and say, "Here's 5 first-rounders. Have fun." Like, I don't know. They should have someone more than these picks.
Or Towns, maybe Beal. I don't know. Because they have Shea, they already have a guard. Go find the next big man that's going to request out. I don't like sitting on these picks.
Well, that's why I'm not too hard on him just yet. I'm pissed about this, but we keep saying Karl-Anthony Towns. As far as we know, he's content in Minnesota. He has a lot of years left on his contract. But yeah, once a guy comes out that fits, or just do what Josh said and trade up. Trade to get the 3rd pick and get a Mobley. Yeah. Get someone who you can actually build with Shea with because
Dort and Mobley.
Because the 6th pick is good, but you could definitely get into the top 3 easily. And because Houston's not sold on anyone. I don't think the Cavs are sold on it. I think they want to trade out. The Cavs do. And we covered last pod, Thunder looking to trade up, but go and do it. There's no reason you should want to do something and can't do it when you have this many first-round picks.
And I'll make a final point here. I've been thinking about this. Like a 2024 pick right now holds so much more value than it would in 23 because then you'll know, like, oh, is this pick going to be good? Right now, nobody knows in 3-4 years, whatever team you have's pick, that year they could randomly get an injury bug or just, 2 years before their whole team gets shipped out or leaves in free agency. So, like, right now, these picks are going to be as high as they'll ever be. So I know there's really no one out there, but like you said, the first chance they can get, they better pounce.
For sure. All right. So that was some draft news. We got a little bit of offseason news. I know George saw this. DeMar DeRozan went on Club Shannon Sharp's podcast. Always a great listen with Shannon Sharp. Even when he's no skip me.
LA Lakers on his back.
Shannon, ever since they got LeBron, he's been saying "we" whenever he talks to the Lakers. That's just how he is.
You sound like Keno right now. He hates when people say "we" about teams.
Well, I hate when he defends Drummond and says "we" about the Lakers because you can't do both. You can't support Drummond and also like the Lakers. It doesn't work both ways.
True that.
So, anyways, he has DeMar DeRozan on there, and he starts off, says he's made a lot of money in his career, which he has. DeRozan has had 2 max contracts. He signed in 2016, which means he got a lot of money that year.
We got the cap spike here.
And not only would he love to go to the Lakers, to LA, but he believes he can make it work with Bron and with AD. So, George, I want to hear your thoughts here. One, just from a cap perspective, can this work if he takes anything more than the goddamn veterans minimum or the MLE?
No. MLE is the highest he's going to get. And that's... maybe
what about if you trade Kuz? Because right now they have 4 guys. They got AD, they got Bron.
We'd still be... Because assuming they re-sign AC and THT, that probably takes them close to the cap. I mean... I don't
God
know.
damn.
I think no. He might have to get less than the MLE if Trez opts back in. I think it's the biannual exception thing, like that $5 million that West got. You know what we signed him with.
Mhm.
So I mean, he's sacrificing a lot, and he had a okay season. I think he can still get like, I don't know, 15, 18. I mean, I don't know what his market is, but he can get that for 2 or 3 more
The
years.
one thing that's going for DeRozan to a contender, I would say, is that he's a very specific fit to be paid for how good he actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's worth 18 mil, but what team is going to be like, you know, we have the money to pay DeMar DeRozan when he doesn't really fit this kind of NBA?
Yeah, I mean, a contender could give him that, but I'm not seeing a middle of the pack team go, are we going to spend, a sizable amount on
No
on
one's
DeMar?
a DeMar DeRozan away from a championship.
Yeah.
Just how it is.
That's yeah, you kind of have it right there. So why do we even want him?
So Josh,
that was good. that was good.
Josh, why is DeMar? I know everyone wants to go play in LA, and he's from LA, and who doesn't love DeMar DeRozan? He's a good guy. And
Clippers.
Yeah, no one wants. He doesn't want to play for the Clippers. He does not want to play with Kawhi Leonard. I think he has
LA.
I think he has Kawhi Leonard on a dartboard in his house with Kawhi Leonard. You know the picture of Kawhi with the glasses looking at Toronto? That's on his dartboard. So he's not going to play for the Clippers. But could it work? Let's say he takes the veterans minimum and they get DeMar DeRozan, former All-Star. Does it work because they don't really?
He comes off the bench.
They need defense and they need 3-point shooting, and he is neither of those. He's a horrible defender and he's a bad 3-point shooter.
If he comes off the bench.
George, would you got your ear to the streets? You think DeMar DeRozan would come off the bench? Think he's a 6-man like Lou will? He just came off a near all-star season.
I think if he's sacrificing that much, he's definitely going to want a starting role. I mean,
nope, it wouldn't work.
Okay, it would be very hard for me to see him after doing all that adjusting to be a 6-man.
So George Trudell, could it work if you say, hey, there's no money here, but there's minutes here? Much like the Drummond thing, because we know how well that worked out when you promise people minutes and you have to play a player that doesn't fit with your squad. But could it work if he's playing the 2-guard, kind of a secondary playmaker off LeBron?
I definitely think so, and he's a guy who could create his own and score on his own, especially in the mid-range. I think the biggest problem last season, outside of really LeBron, there was no creation, no play. Dennis tried, KCP's not really creating his own and hitting dribble pull-ups and all that. So I think there's definitely a fit to be had there. There's some caution tape with his defense, and his playoff efficiency obviously hasn't been the best. So there's some question marks, but I think it could work. I think it's a long shot, though.
I do just want to say, I'll give you probably till 50 minutes because I don't want to talk a lot of Lakers. There's a lot of clickbaiting going around as far as the big shows, like all the Fox ones. The Lakers are in no position to get any big name free agent, right? There's no Russell Westbrooks. There's no Chris Pauls. They don't know how the cap works, right?
Russell Westbrook, I think there is a path, but it would be 4 or 5 players because we don't have many big contracts. And at that point, are you really, Chris Paul? There's no way unless he opts out and takes a small contract with Russ. I think his contract's over $40 million. I mean, you're gonna have to offer.
It's almost 50.
You're gonna have to offer Kuz, Trez, KCP, and then if THT or AC, I think you would have to offer this year's or 2027, and then one of the sign and trade guys like THT or AC because they'll probably make double digit, 10 mil or 12 mil. So it'd be those 4 and a pick. I don't think it's really reasonable.
Because I keep seeing all these stupid Laker accounts because my Instagram's fed into it. I liked one post about AD going to a charity stream, and now I get all these crazy Laker accounts. It's what do you want more, Chris Paul and Melo or Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan?
It's the Lakers Central Mutants, man. It's the Lakers Central parody accounts. You just got to stop listening to them.
But that's your whole Twitter.
Yeah, but Twitter is a fictionary place, apparently.
Then why do I keep getting bamboozled? Why do I keep getting hoodwinked by these fake salary cap gurus?
Everyone's just trying to get clout right now, man. It's that season on Twitter.
What season? What do you mean?
Free agency, people are trying to get likes and follows, man. It's a dirty business.
And what are you doing to stand out from the pack?
I'm just chilling. I'm just vibing. I'm just tweeting away.
You just
Enjoying
tweeting
a nice
away?
pina colada. Just kidding. I don't drink.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to really say. George says he's drinking pina coladas. I'm kind of lost now.
Is that where we're cutting it?
I think we're gonna call it. It's 1:22 here on the West Coast.
It's 3:22 where George lives.
Nope,
George
I'm
lives
back
in the same city as me,
No,
actually.
funny joke, Josh. You almost got it.
George now does not know who to drop off first, me or Josh, when we go places, because he has to backtrack no matter what, because we live so close together in the freeways. You know how they work in California. But yeah,
I
let's
think
get to it. Oh,
we live
George
on
has a thought.
we live on the same street, so I think dropping Josh off first makes more sense. But your outro.
Well,
He muted himself. That's
it's like because he has no self-control. He knows he'll say something.
Oh, I do want to apologize. Shout out J Sports real quick. I was pronouncing James Bouknight's name wrong. However, it's not. I don't know why he pronounces it like that. Josh, you're gonna have to give me some ethnicity background on his name, because Bouknight just doesn't roll off the tongue.
We actually got laid into quite a bit by our listeners about our basketball knowledge in the Olympics. Josh got caught lacking not watching the Luka game, and I got caught lacking saying the Luka game was nothing. I was like 48 points. That's how it is. No, it's impressive. I'm stupid. I don't know why I went that path. I think I was a little worked up because of George. I was like, no way George could be right. He was right in that sense. I do think Slovenia will not medal, and I do think they're honestly not a great team without Luka Doncic. But hey, who is? They don't play like a team, but hip hip hooray, the world turns. But yeah, we got put in check by our fans for that one, so we'll make sure to do our due diligence on the Olympics. George, by default, was the winner of that debate because he watched the first half Luka game. Woo is right. All right, I'm gonna call it. Thanks for listening. That you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe. Hopefully, I'll have a normal voice by Friday morning's episode. We will not have Josh Friday morning's episode, so I will be doing my due diligence for the draft. So George is gonna
Hopefully
have to
my
carry
Wi-Fi
heavy there.
works.
Your Wi-Fi has to. You could do this. Do it off your phone. Do it off your data.
If it doesn't
All
work
right.
for George, I'll
Another
try
solo
my best.
pod.
Solo pod on the draft. I'm not gonna advertise that. Me.
You can call you can do like the Batman symbol with the light, and I'll try to make it.
It's just the Bill Simmons. I'm like, maybe he'll show up.
Yeah,
maybe Bill will show up.
book a basketball podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, can I help you write the third book? I'm a huge fan. I'm really well versed in the 1980s.
I'm sprinting.
But yeah, on YouTube we upload all the time there. So if you just want to maybe just pop in, give us a view, see what we look like. George, show the people what you look like right now. So George looks like human Shrek, but we're not going to focus on that right now. But yeah,
I'll tell you what, both of those photos are being sent right away.
I'm rambling here. YouTube, subscribe. Instagram at THHoopers. Twitter at G_Martin21. Josh, just give him a follow too. I don't know. He won't be here Thursday, so maybe don't. But yeah, tweet us. We'll give you a shout out. Drop a comment on the Instagram post. Give you a shout out. Shout outs going around. Thanks for being OG. Everyone, enjoy the draft.